we're with the final topic, which is abortion in America. The person with this topic was supposed to look at the 1800s and create a timeline. First thing I wanted them to do was come up with the definition for quickening. Quickening is a 1800 term in the 1800s, going up to 1820, about 20 years. Quickening said that life starts when the woman feels movement. I guess that leaves a lot up to the female to determine. 1820s forward, a separate entity exists before the woman feels movement. So right there is getting at the heart of the debate. When does life begin? And we'll see how this plays a role in impacting the lives of women with regard to reproductive choice. By the late 1800s, women are dealing with the Comstock laws. The Comstock laws were a series of laws that were designed to go after lewd behavior, anything that was considered obscene, anything that was for the prevention or procuring of an abortion, any immoral use or nature, anything written or printed. So let's just say you have a pamphlet that is explaining how you can prevent a pregnancy. You are in violation of the Comstock laws, which is precisely where Madame Bristol or Anne Lohman finds herself in violation. Before she can arrive for her sentencing, she decides she is going to commit suicide in her bathtub. But she represents one of the many people trying to help women control their reproductive decisions, and she's somebody eventually pays for it with her life. Another one could be Margaret Sanger, who had established Planned Parenthood, which was an organization still around today that just helps people with access to information. Over the years, they've been accused of directing people to get abortions, especially after Roe v. Wade is passed in the 70s. Student was asked to create a timeline. Here you see some of the items. Notice Margaret Sanger's here with the birth control league, the depression. Take a look at this number here, 15,000 deaths. Abortions really at a high point right here in the 70s with regard to that abortion as a possible reason right there. So pretty much before the 60s, you see women really going through some pretty extreme measures to try to control reproduction. By the 60s, you start to see birth control through access from with the pill, and that debate about abortion and birth control gets finalized by the time Roe v. Wade is passed in 74. Prior to that, women, especially if we're looking at the 1930s, they had to go to a midwife. A midwife is somebody who pretty much did not have medical training to the extent that a doctor would. They were other women who would assist with the process of giving birth, helping a female, have a child, as well as helping through the early stages. So they have some sort of medical training, but not to the extent of a doctor. If we were looking at your options as a female in the 30s, let's just say you get pregnant, you can go to a doctor, you can go to the hospital, you can do the procedure on your own, or you can go to the midwife. Well, if you go to the doctor, he's probably not going to grant it to you. If you go to the hospital, they're probably not going to grant you the divorce, especially if you're not married. That's probably not going to happen. If you do the procedure on your own, well, let's just say you mess up, which is going to force you back to the hospital or force you back to the doctor. Seems like one of your other options could be the midwife. You go to the midwife, maybe she will perform this procedure. The problem is the midwife is operating illegally, which is precisely where women find themselves getting these procedures performed, and probably not the best situations. Not to mention the fact that the midwife is also under investigation, possibly from the police department, that's trying to really put an end, because they view the midwife as the person really responsible for all of these illegal abortions. By the time we get to the 50s and to the 60s, you start to see hospitals having abortion committees, and these committees would determine whether or not somebody is eligible to get an abortion. One of the requirements, you better be married. That definitely better be in there. Try to go to one of these abortion committees. As a single mother in her early 20s, it's probably just not going to happen, which forces you back. Maybe you perform the procedure on your own, or you get it performed illegally. Going to these routes right here is probably not going to help you in any way. Right now, your abortion group summary. We'll take a pause. And here are my thoughts. When does life begin? What's the role of the abortion committee? And Roe v. Wade. Also keep in mind the extreme measures women were going through historically to try to control reproduction.